Only a short year after Matilda entering into the finishing school, she fell in love with Mr. Ishida, and they quickly decided that they were going to be wed. So they planned this really quick engagement, courtship, and were married. And as you saw, they had a lovely wedding. But a lot of the family was really concerned with the fact that they decided to go ahead and rush into this and didn't really understand why. Well, it turns out that her husband, Sho, does have a unfortunate disease, and there isn't a cure for it. Well, if there is, it's deep in the jungle of Salvadora. And unfortunately, there isn't anyone that he knows of that is experienced enough to go and get the cure. And so he has resigned himself to the fact that he isn't going to make it out of this alive. But he did fall in love with Matilda as soon as he laid eyes upon her, and he wanted to wed her, and she felt instantly the same about him. So they are married. So I have moved them into the very first house that we built, 1901 Mulberry Lane. And we are just going ahead here, and I am designing their house for them. So I wanted to give them something that kind of fit Matilda's look and personality. And Matilda is a dreamer, and she is a bit spontaneous and a bit bubbly. And I don't know. When I look at Matilda, she's beautiful, and she's also dangerous. She kind of has that look about her where she's kind of like, what is that saying? You can draw more bees with honey than you do vinegar. That's kind of what it's like when you look at Matilda. She's super sweet to the eye. And she's going to draw everything to her, but she's not necessarily maybe the best thing for everyone. So I want her house to kind of reflect that. I mean, I'm not saying that she's by any means a horrid person, because she isn't, but she can be difficult. All women, I guess, to an extent can be difficult, but Matilda is Matilda, and I think we all know what I mean when I say that. And I mean, two of the girls are a little difficult. Two of the girls are a little bit on the mischievous / evil side, and she just happens to be one of those. I'm not naming any names. I mean, I kind of did, but anyway. Moving right along. So I did put this little hutch here. I'm just putting a little welcoming mat down because I do want it to feel welcoming and homey and a little bit, whatever. I do want it to feel like Sho also belongs here. But I do worry that he isn't going to make it for much longer. As you could see in even the wedding photos, he is broken out in poisonous places all over his face and body. And so I do worry that he's definitely we're towards the end with him. Now, do mind you that she is a teen. She just entered her teen years, and he is an adult. So he is significantly older than her. That it isn't necessarily something that you would not have seen back then. That is definitely something you would have seen back then. They married very, very young. They would have married older gentlemen because the dads would have set them up with men that could have taken care of their daughters. So they would have set them up with men that they knew could take care of them. And in a lot of cases, the boys would not have been able to do that. So it wasn't always the case that a young teen would have married a young teen. It wouldn't have been like that. The young teen boys would have been sent off to boarding school so that they could have learned an education, and they could learn a skill or a trade, and gotten some wisdom under their belt, so that they could actually provide a woman with a house and a home and all of the things that they needed. And the older gentlemen would be the ones that would be doing the marrying of these young girls, and producing children. So it isn't at all uncommon that that is what you would have seen. But, you know, it's not something that people like to talk about. So anyhow, moving right along. This is the living/kitchen area. This was the smallest of the homes that I did build in this neighborhood. It is quite small. So the kitchen, dining, and living area is all one room. And then they have that kind of like foyer slash stair area to take you upstairs. So they get like a little couch and a table with a lamp and a little what is that, phonograph. And then I'm just giving them a little breakfast nook area where they can sit and have their breakfast or supper or lunch or whatever the case is. So they'll be able to sit and eat. And then they have their kitchen. I am going to actually change their bathroom up a little bit. I had thrown some things in there, but I am going to change that up just a little bit because it does look a little bit too modern. I am going to make that a little bit different. And then other than that, we'll head upstairs, but it is also a 1-bedroom home. That being said, even if they do decide to conjugate them, if they decide to be in the marital way, in the marital bed, and she were to conceive at this present moment, even if he is sickly and not going to make it, the house is big enough and the room upstairs is big enough to house a crib. So I am planning to put a crib up there just in case, because the house would be big enough to have a crib. They could always even put a toddler bed up there, or even another like single bed up there. It would be tight, but it is doable. And at some point, if they wanted to, a wall could even be put up. Like I did leave that area. It is the full length of the house, so another wall could be put up, and another room could be put in. Obviously, I'm not playing this family. I won't be playing this family. If a child is born, we'll go in, we'll do makeovers and things of that nature. But this family, once established, is on its own. Now, if for some reason something were to happen to her husband, then she would be a widow, and at that point, the story may change there, and I'll intervene at that point, and you guys will see that happen, and we'll go from there. I don't want to ruin any surprises in that scenario, but if he does pass away from this poisonous stuff that's going on with him, then at that point in time, we'll go from there. So for now, that's pretty much where we stand. So here I am actually just adding a couple of little scones, like light scones onto the wall, just to give it a little bit more light. There are windows on the wall, but I just want to give it a little bit more light because it is a little bit dark in here. I put a little plant on the table, and that is the medieval cookbook, just so that she'll have some extra recipes that she can cook for the family, just because obviously, sometimes the recipes are a little bit limited, or, just to give some variety. And now we will go ahead and fix this bathroom here, and then we will head upstairs and do the upstairs to go ahead and get that all squared away. So as you can see, this house on the outside is pink, but on the inside it is blue themed, which I thought was perfect because I put all of her outfits are blue. Like her favorite color is blue. So even though the outside of the house does have a pinkish exterior, the inside of the house all is blue. And so I thought this was actually the perfect house for her because it is her favorite color. So she will feel right at home here in her favorite blue colored home. I hope that he feels the same, but actually I think he has a lot of blue in his arsenal as well. So they seem to have a lot in common in regards to fashion as well. So I'm not exactly sure. So this bathroom here was a little bit tight. I end up having to move that sink area over towards the tub as close as I can. So I just like kind of squeeze it over as far as I can so that I can fit a toilet there next to the door because I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be able to use this bathroom. And so I do play test it, and she is actually able to go ahead and go in there, and they can use everything in the washroom once I get everything placed. And so play tested everything, and everything is good. But I was really, really worried that I wasn't going to be able to get them to be able to use everything in here, but that actually was not the case. Everything can actually be used. At first I put the toilet here, and then I was like, I don't actually think that's going to be able to be used. So I move it over. I move the sink towards the tub, and then I move the toilet next to the door, and everything actually works out pretty good. Okay, so now that everything is scooched over and all of the downstairs is completely finished, now let's go ahead and get the upstairs completed. And with the upstairs, I just wanted to give them a little bit of a nice little, obviously blue bedroom set that is definitely like country looking, not too modern looking, and that I kind of wanted a quilt, but every quilt that I pulled out, it just kind of didn't really fit. And then the one quilts that I did want, for whatever reason, it looks like I'm missing some mesh. So I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. So I did finally settle on a bed that I really, really liked. Like, I like that one a lot, but it looked a little bit too modern for me. And I loved these little quilt blankets here. But then when I pulled them out, they're missing a mesh. So I was like, okay, great. So unfortunately, I wasn't going to be able to use those. So I did find another bed, and I am using that one instead. And I actually think that it turned out really, really nicely. And I then just picked some little nightstands that are actually with a different set. So nothing actually in this bedroom is a set that goes together. I kind of mixed and matched pieces and just tied everything together with different like tones of woods and things of that nature, so that it just kind of looked like they had maybe she brought a little bit of this and he brought a little bit of that, and they kind of threw their furniture together and had what they had, and that was just kind of what they had together, kind of thing. And it just kind of turned out that that's the way it worked, and it really, I think, turned out cute in the end. So I'm using the SYB Annie double bed. It looks kind of like barn doors almost. And I think it's really, really cute. And it has a lovely bluish gray like bedding. But then I throw a little quilt on the top that has like kind of a bluish plaid, which is absolutely beautiful and ties everything kind of together. And then with the nightstands, I throw some wooden and blue nightstands up and give them a little bit of plants. And I just try to make everything a little bit homey, a little bit country looking. I mean, if you think about it, they did have, you know, she's from a farming family, not really farming, I mean, but like they had a garden, and her dad was a carpenter, like he did woodworking and things like that. So she's not from a very high class family, and so she would have a lot of like lower class kind of things. And even though he may be of higher class, it seems to me that he's had quite a bit of a rough life, just because, like, how do you get a disease from Salvadora? Like, clearly I don't know exactly how he came to be to acquire that, but that's okay. And I didn't ask him a whole lot of questions, but it is what it is. So I don't know of anyone that can go and save him. And so it would seem that it just is what it is. And so there's these blue, it's twigs. They're like twigs. So it's made out of like tree trunks, and they're painted blue. So those are the lamps that I have here. And I think they're so cute. Everything's just ties together so nicely. And I even put up like a little, screen to kind of like block the room off a little bit at the stairs there. Almost like a privacy screen. And then I gave them a little dresser. I wanted this Hallie one, but again, the mesh is missing. So I clearly need to go through some of my CC and find out what's missing and what's working, because some of it is missing some stuff. But this one here is another one that's really, really cute. It's in white, but it still works for me. So we used that one. And then I also put a little crib over here in this corner. And again, the crib is in a kind of, it's white, but it got like blue bedding. So it perfectly matches with everything that's in this room. And everything, I think, perfectly ties together. I think it's really, really turns out to be really cute. Maybe it's grayish. Either way, it still ties in. And now I am just going to go ahead and put that, I can't remember now if I put a rug in or I put that screen in. The screen. I put the screen in. And as you can see, they are happily in their home, and they can go ahead and live here and finish out their lives together. And hopefully Sho will go ahead and not have an early demise. But unfortunately, I don't know how long he's going to last. So we will just have to go ahead and see about that. But they are going to go ahead and enjoy their honeymoon. And I am going to go ahead and leave them and leave you guys here with this and say goodbye for now. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you are notified when a new episode goes live. And until the next one, I am going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, y'all.